In the heart of a bustling city stood an old rehab hospital, a relic from the era when polio cast its shadow across the United States. The building, with its weathered walls and creaking floors, had been a sanctuary for countless souls over the decades. I remember it well, for I once walked its dimly lit corridors, a part of its ever-busy staff. The hospital, especially the unit I worked in, was nestled in one of the original buildings from those early days. It was a place where time seemed to stand still, trapped in an endless loop of the past. The walls, stained with the echoes of a bygone era, whispered tales of resilience and sorrow. Our unit was a peculiar mix of the old and the new, a testament to the countless attempts to keep the aging structure functional. Yet, despite the efforts, it was as if the building itself was resisting. Pipes hidden within the ancient walls would burst without warning, sending torrents of water cascading down the hallways. The electrical wiring, outdated and overburdened, would often short-circuit, plunging us into unexpected darkness. And the air conditioning, a modern attempt to bring comfort, was a constant source of frustration, often breaking down and leaving us sweltering in the oppressive heat. But amidst these mundane troubles, there was one room on our floor that stood out. A room shrouded in an inexplicable chill, unlike the rest of the unit, which would be stiflingly hot due to the faulty air conditioning. This room was always cold, as if an unseen presence was breathing its icy breath upon it. The oddities didn't end there. The toilet in this room, a simple fixture with a manual handle, would flush on its own, startling us at the most unexpected moments. The automatic paper towel dispenser, too, would spring to life without a soul near it, unspooling its paper offerings to an invisible user. But the most unsettling incident, the one that still sends shivers down my spine, involved a patient in that very room. He was a lucid man, sharp as a tack, with no history of confusion or delusions. His only medications were for blood thinning and blood pressure. One morning, he urgently requested to speak with a manager, his voice tinged with a mix of fear and annoyance. He recounted how, in the dead of night, a woman would enter his room. She would stand silently at the foot of his bed, her presence an eerie, watchful shadow in the darkness. He couldn't make out her features, only the silhouette of long hair cascading down her shoulders. Then, as silently as she appeared, she would leave, melting into the shadows. His story sent a ripple of unease through our staff. There were no nighttime staff members fitting that description, and the security measures in place made unsolicited visits nearly impossible. The mystery of the woman with long hair remained unsolved, a chilling enigma in a building already brimming with unexplained phenomena. To this day, the memory of that hospital, with its creaking floors and whispering walls, haunts me. It was a place where the past and present collided, where unexplained occurrences were as much a part of its fabric as the patients we cared for. The woman with the long hair, the cold room, the self-flushing toilet, they all blend into a tapestry of eerie, inexplicable memories, a reminder of the time I spent within the walls of that ancient rehab hospital. Another incident took place when I was in med school. During my days in med school, I worked at a nursing home, a place that seemed more like a serene retreat than a care facility. It was a memory care unit where the air was filled with a sense of calm, and the residents, despite their fading memories, seemed genuinely content. The facility was immaculate, a testament to the dedication and care of the staff. It was here that I encountered an incident that still lingers in my mind, a tale that blurs the line between the living and the departed. One of the residents, Mr. B, was as much a part of the nursing home as the walls and floors. He had been there since its opening day and was known for his particular ways. He had his own seat in the dining room, where he would sit with an air of quiet authority. After dinner, he would always have exactly 3 scoops of strawberry ice cream, a small pleasure that seemed to bring him immense joy. He would then retire to his chair by the window, where he would sit until precisely 11:30, lost in his thoughts. He was a bit grumpy, but endearing in his own way, a little old man set in his routines. Time, however, is relentless, and Mr. B eventually passed away. The room he had occupied for so long was soon filled by a new resident, a lady who brought her own belongings but used the same bed and armchair that Mr. B had. It was her first night in the room when the unexplained began to unfold. I was on my nightly rounds, engaged in the mundane tasks that filled the quiet hours. Suddenly, the new resident approached me, her voice tinged with unease. "There's a man in my room telling me to get out," she said. I immediately thought of another resident known for wandering at night and went with her to investigate. But her room was empty, the shadows lying still and undisturbed. Assuming the wanderer had left, I tucked her back into bed and went to check on him, only to find him sound asleep in his own room. I had barely returned to my duties when the woman appeared again, this time more agitated. "He said to get out, that I'm in his room," she insisted. Again, I accompanied her back, but the room was as empty as before. She pointed to her armchair, her voice trembling. "He said to move my chair and put his back and to get out of his room." It was then that it dawned on me. She was seeing Mr. B. Not knowing how to handle such a situation, I let her stay with me at the nurse's station until the third shift arrived. The third shift CNA, upon hearing my story, scoffed at the idea and marched to the new resident's room with a mix of irritation and disbelief. She addressed the empty air. "Mr. B, you are dead. This is not your room anymore. Go on and let this poor woman sleep." To our surprise, the incident ceased after that night. The new resident slept peacefully, and there were no more reports of nocturnal visitors. I left that night feeling a mix of relief and confusion. In my medical training, I had learned to deal with the tangible, the explainable, but this experience was beyond the realm of my textbooks and lectures. I had encountered something that defied logic, a whisper from the other side that lingered in the corridors of the nursing home. It was a reminder that sometimes, in the quiet moments of the night, the past can reach out through the veil, leaving us with stories that are as chilling as they are inexplicable.